All right, got this is the next morning, guys. I started this last night. It was done last night, but I didn't feel like doing another video last night. So I got everything updated, right? And man, I wish I knew that site that I think, is it Locksmith Keys? I think yeah, they got these updates, and it is the same update I found out. So if you're in the market for a scan tool, I definitely recommend the 508S, because the 508 has been discontinued. So don't buy that one. Get the 508S, because look what the updates are going for. 244 for an annual update. So that's really good, because this tool does all the diagnostics, as well as it has bidirectional controls, active tests, all of that, all your service functions, everything. But you also get its main purpose, which is a key programmer. Now you got to get some other things depending on what all keys and how deep you are into the keys and stuff, but it will come with this one. It comes with the XP200. And then if you want to expand the capabilities of this, then you can get the XP400 kit, which comes with a lot of stuff. And if you want to expand the capabilities a little more, this thing's like $150 for doing Toyotas and Lexuses. To make that key process a lot quicker and easier, use the simulation, the smart key emulator, to work with that. And that's for like when you're in an all keys lost scenario, and you need to make keys. Well, you need a key during the key making process to put close to the button to be the first key that you're going to copy the others to, to clone the others with. So if you don't have any key, well, what do? Well, with this, you can hook your cable up to this, put it onto here. You can copy the EEPROM data out of the car using this only, and you can turn this into the master key, the first key, the universal key, whatever. And once you have this guy done, then you can go through the regular key making process. And when it tells you put your key to the button, the working key, this becomes the working key. And then you can take your new keys, your blank fobs, and program them as the additional keys. Okay, so that's going to be an all keys lost situation. Makes it really easy and fast for your Toyotas and your Lexuses. That's what that's for. All right. But yeah, so this is like a great value, because for less than $300, you can update this, So, and now that I see that these updates work for the IM508 and the S, I'm not worried so much about them not making updates for this anymore, if it's working for the S. So it should always be updatable. And this is a very reasonable cost to update a tool, a full function tool. And this tool has auto VIN. You don't have to pay extra for that. You don't have to be connected to the internet. You don't have to have an active subscription for that to work. And as well as, let's just go into a Dodge. And what I hate about the launch scanners, like the bigger ones, the touch screens, the ones that I call the full function ones, is that they nickel and dime you about the services. So when you want to let me get out of that. Oh, well, I'm glad I'm showing you guys this. So with the update, we got a few things. As you can see, I went from 42 updates to 17. I only picked the ones that I wanted. Certain cars that I know I never work on, I didn't update them. They also have this members center to where they give you like coupons if you're buying stuff like the updates. All of these are expired. So, but you can see here that so they charge $349 for the annual update, but they give you $100 coupon sometime. So you basically can get it for $250 from them too, but not right now. And let's just get out of that. I just want to show you, I just want to show you the service. Okay, so like all of this stuff comes, all the scanners I've ever had. You pay a couple $1,000 for a scanner, $1,200, $1,400 for a scanner. You should not have to pay for individual makes and models for the thing to work on, and you shouldn't have to pay for individual features. That's part of you buying the scan tools. That's part of the marketing. It comes with 31 service resets and functions, things like that. And with the launch scanners, they like power balance, tire reset, different little battery, they want you to pay extra, and that extra is to the tune of like $130 per feature. And then once you buy those features, well, it's only good for certain makes and models, so the vehicle coverage is basically kind of non-existent, and you have to pay for vehicle coverage. Whereas with a scan tool like this, with your Autels, you get every vehicle. Okay, you don't have to pay an extra $60 a month for each vehicle because, oh, I work on Chryslers and I also work on Chevys and I also need Fords. I don't pay $50 for each one. They intrinsically work with the software. So that's a big, that it's a scam, man. It's a scam. I think it sucks. They need to just not do that. But anyway, I updated this. So if you have these and you do your update, you can get the new firmware updates. You just plug this into the USB and then go into IMO or universal key, and the first thing it's going to do is recognize that this is hooked up, and it's going to offer you a firmware update. To update the XP400, same thing, you hook that up, but you go into programmer and it's going to recognize that you have this hooked up, and it's going to give you the firmware update. This guy, I tried to update it like that, but it didn't work. But when you actually get so far into a procedure of actually doing keys, then it's going to offer the update for the APB 112. And it doesn't take that long. It's a small file. So that's some stuff I wanted to show you guys. And back to the auto off, which these scanners use. You can see that I have my scanners on here. Well, this one is not really my scanner. I tried to get the icon to work like that, and it didn't. So we'll get rid of that. But if you are in the market for a new scanner and you have to work on the FCA vehicles, your Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, stuff like that, those sports cars are very popular, those Chargers, those Challengers, and Jeeps. So again, if you're going to buy a if you're going to buy, let's refresh my screen, add tool. All right, if you're gonna buy a tool and you need to work with those type of vehicles, get a tool that's on this list so that you can use this to electronically unlock the gateway without having to remove the secure gateway and go through a bunch of trouble. So as you can see, Snap-on uses it, OTC, Matco, Mac Tools, all the big boys. You got your Launch, they're on there, Bosch, Autel, and even Harbor Freight for their old scanner, the ZR Pro, along with these other ones, and you can kind of see who they are. So if you know you got to work on Chrysler Jeep vehicles, get a tool that's on this list. After you get the tool, you got to you got to pay your dues. You got to pay these guys. It's only $50 a year. So just give them the $50. You can add up to 5 different tools, you know, and when you get to that login screen, when you're trying to get through that gateway using a normal ODB2, it will link up to the site. It'll verify the serial number of the device you're using is the one that's on your login. It's gonna take you into that behind the scenes, and once the serial numbers match, it will give you the key, automatically electronically unlocking the gateway, and then you don't have to do a bunch of extra work. Speaking of scams, going back to talking about how the launch scanners charge you for features that everybody else gives you with the tool. It's part of the purchase of the tool and the subscription. All stuff just works. When my sister because my scanners were out of date, I was like, listen, I fixed some stuff on the car, you know, sensors and stuff, and I know you need to reset the codes. So I sent her to Firestone to get them to check the codes, reset the BCM, clear codes, right? And what they did was a pre-scan, and that's it. They scan the car, and as you can see, they call it diagnostic service. It computerized engine analysis. You know, they scanned the car, and they charged her $100. Ultimately, they charged my nephew because she was just doing this for me, for my nephew, because I was working on a car. But the Autels block you out if you're not updated. $127.10. And what do you get for that? They charge her for a full hour of labor for this. This is what a pre-scan. The scan that you do at a shop anyway to protect your shop, so that you know after you work on a car and do the post-scan that nothing else is different. So anybody that's working on a car, you always have to do a pre-scan anyway. You do a pre-scan before you touch the vehicle to see if there's anything wrong with it, so that you don't get blamed for stuff, and people will do that. Because people suck, and this Firestone, they suck too, because they charge you for nothing. So for him, this guy at this Firestone, and this service writer who let all this go down. So you charge a customer for a full hour of labor for doing your first step in working on a car that you didn't work on. You did absolutely no work to the car. You simply hooked up your scanner, did a pre-scan, something that you would always do anyway before you touch a car to protect your shop and yourself, because flat rate guys, you mess it up, you fix it on your own time, your own dime. And they charge you $130. That's why you need to have your own scan tools, because this is what you got for $130, and you could have took your own scan tool. This is one, and I'm also getting to highlight what the report from the icon looks like, the printout. Same information. This one actually picked up more stuff. It's in color and it's nicer, and it didn't cost $130 to run a pre-scan. But yeah, and they didn't even get the odometer right. They just made up a number which is not the correct mileage. The icon actually grabs the current mileage out of the computer and populates it on the report. So as you can see on the icon report, this is what it looks like. So you got the TCM saying that, hey, the speed signals aren't coming in correctly, and that's because on the ABS system, you have a left rear wheel speed sensor that is not sending good data. It's not matching up with the other wheel. And other than that, you know, some BCM stuff. So in these vehicles, like if you have an electrical fault and there is no headlamp relay for the SXTs that come with regular headlights. So what happens is, if you have an electrical issue or you're messing with something, or just something happens and it blows the fuse, the lighting, the exterior lighting fuse, which is like a 40 amp fuse. Because there is no relay and the BCM, one of the computers that controls that, the BCM is serving as the relay. It opens, it completes the circuits, it gives it the powers and the grounds. And what happens is, when it sees a fault like that, it disables the lights. It opens the circuit, and it's not going to close it until you go in and you reset the BCM. So if you're having an issue like that and your lights aren't working, and you test the bulbs and you know the bulbs are good, and you knew you had a blown fuse because you had to replace it, well, your BCM has opened that circuit and it's not going to close it until you reset the BCM on those challengers. But anyway, just showing you that this, you know, the scanner is well worth it. Now, I'm not very happy with this one right now. I'm sure it'll get better with updates, but when you can go out and buy a scanner, and it doesn't have to be this one, and it doesn't have to be this one, you can get a $300 scanner that can do this for you. You can do this with like a $300 scanner. And when you use it 2 or 3 times, it has paid for itself just for scanning. Because as it turns out, Jimmy and the crew over there at Firestone will charge you $127 just to pre-scan your vehicle and not even do any work to it. So that's what's going on. That's how people get ripped off. They're notorious for doing it to women, which kind of sucks. You know, you hear it all the time. It really does happen. And I worked at automotive shops, and we would not charge a customer for that. We're gonna do the pre-scan anyway, and if the customer specifically asks for a scan, I think we charge them like $50. It's not gonna take us but 5 minutes. We're gonna hook up to it. We could do it in the parking lot. We don't even have to pull the car into the bay. Just walk out to the car, hook the scanner up, scan it, go into the office, print it out, and 5 minutes later, I'm working on something different. They get their printout, you know, and if they want us to clear the codes, we just clear them too. It's like $50 or $60 at the most. We charge, like, I think the minimum charge is like a half hour of labor. So yeah, just had to kind of go on a rant about that. But yeah, the scanners, totally recommend the IM 508. And with the updates being as cheap as they are, that's something you want to take into consideration, because one of the viewers told me that the icon updates based on, like, he recognized the GUI, the software that's on them, and he was like, that's basically the same thing as the ThinkTool Pros and the launch software. It's just kind of redone for icon. I guess whoever owns the software, they just kind of rebrand it according to him. And he says the updates for those other companies are like $600 a year. So he expects for Icon's software update to be like $600 a year. Well, this is a better scanner. I must say, it doesn't have cameras on it, but so what? As you saw in my video, the camera didn't pick up the VIN anyway. And you can type in a license plate, it's like 6 characters. So you get a tool like this, IM508, the IM508S, and you're only looking at less than $250 a year for the updates. So that's something that you want to think about when you're buying a scan tool, is what are the updates cost. You buy a nice big fancy scan tool, you barely, you wouldn't normally be able to afford it, but you go ahead and do it, and then you find out the updates are $2,000 and you're not going to want to update it. So that's what we got, guys. RV Tech Pro.